Do you want to engage your audience when talking about your research? Do you want a better grade on your lay summary? Keep watching and find out my top 10 tips on how to communicate to non-scientists as a neuroscientist. Tip 1. Have an interesting or useful beginning that can hook the audience into your content. Tip 2. Know your audience. Who or what are they familiar with? Don't make a Billie Eilish reference to a bunch of old ladies. Tip 3. Know your content. I prefer to understand the content at least 2 levels deeper than the one I'm presenting at. This allows you to prevent awkward misunderstandings and answer questions. Tip 4. Know jargon. Choose one technical sounding word if you need it, but define it in a clear and understandable way that makes sense to the audience. If you want to know whether a word counts as jargon or not, call your mom. I'm sure she misses you. Tip 5. Focus on a story. Who did what, how, where, when, and why. Structure is your friend. Headings and a narrative arc will make it fun and understandable. A word in a heading is never wasted. Tip 6. Choose a metaphor or visual aids for the confusing parts, but also be clear on where your audience might be confused. I once told my dad a beautiful metaphor I had read about a PhD and how it makes you into a better researcher, and he really just wanted to know when I'd be making money. So know where your audience is going to be confused and then elaborate. Tip 7. Choose your length carefully. Short and sweet is preferable, especially over text. If you're doing a video, you might have some more leeway with the amount of length and depth that you can go into, but still, be concise and precise. Tip 8. Choose your topic and focus carefully. Some topics are chosen for you, but you can still choose on what to focus on within the topic. This means that you should focus on the most understandable and interesting parts. If you can't talk about a whole topic, choosing what to exclude is as important as choosing what to include. Tip 9. Engage, engage, engage. Rhetorical appeals that you need to know are ethos, pathos, and logos. This means that you can rely on your credibility as a speaker, emotional appeals, and a logical construction. Don't ignore the first 2 because they are powerful tools in communication. Tip 10. End with a repetition and a takeaway. People need a message. Keep the whole thing focused so that the takeaway seems obvious from the beginning, and then say it out loud at the end. And here's an example. I hooked the audience with the title and a small description of the study I was explaining. So I wrote, "Can the right weather make it easier to see a camouflaged animal? Are some days simply better for spotting birds than others?" A research paper published in 2018 shed some light on this question and found that lighting conditions can affect how well some camouflage patterns work to hide an animal. In terms of audience and content, this lay summary was written for the readers of a birdwatching magazine who were assumed to be older adults with only a basic background in science. Content-wise, I was in a class taught by one of the authors of the study, and she explained it to us herself, so I felt confident in my knowledge. If I wouldn't have had that explanation, I would have read around the study some more. In terms of jargon, I chose one technical word to use, countershading, and explained it early on in words familiar to my audience. So I wrote, "A common experience with birding, especially at the beginning, is being told about an exciting bird in the area and not being able to see it. Many animals, including certain birds, use camouflage to avoid detection. One type of camouflage is called countershading, where the part of the animal exposed to the sunlight is darker, while the side facing away is lighter. If you've seen a mockingbird, you've seen countershading. This can help prevent detection from a predator or prey by making an animal appear to have one color, which can make it harder to identify from its surroundings." For story and structure, I embraced headings to help clarify the structure of the story. So here I used the headings, "What was found" and "What does this mean?" to help the audience clearly understand the progression of the study. To practice being clear and concise, I had a 500-word limit on this article, so I needed to be clear in my explanation without wasting words. It can take some practice. As you can see here, I used a visual aid to help explain the concept of countershading, writing, "The African hawk eagle is a beautiful example of a countershaded bird with a dark back and a light-colored front side." I also wrote text to help explain the study that the researchers were doing. So I wrote, "But can countershading prevent detection equally in all lighting? Experimenters from the University of St. Andrews wanted to find out. The experimenters used humans as predators and gave them a task to quickly locate simulated prey that looked like caterpillars on a computer screen. The twist here was that some of these caterpillars were shaded to blend in with their surroundings on a cloudy day, while others were shaded to blend in on a sunny day with strongly different colors. The experimenters then added leaves, or visual distractors, around the caterpillars that were correctly shaded based on the simulated weather conditions. Sometimes the caterpillars matched the weather and sometimes they didn't. Remember, it's important to choose an engaging topic. I chose a study about camouflage and an audience of birdwatchers because the topic itself would be engaging to this audience. This meant that I had to do much less of the heavy lifting because the audience was already interested in the topic, but I still regularly linked the study back to birdwatching. Those links were not wasted words. And remember, end on a good note. I ended on a summary of the study with advice and a call to action for the audience. This was engaging, but also helped with retention of the message. So I wrote, if you live somewhere that usually gets lots of sunlight, maybe those rare and beautiful birds will be easier to see on the next cloudy day. The only way to know is go look. I hope this helped you with your science communication, and thank you so much for watching. Please like the video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe if you'd like to see more science videos and science communication videos. Okay, bye.